Yeah, almost red. Red blunt.
Okay, so now Russ, are you ready?
Yeah.
Yeah?
We're ready.
Okay.
3, 2, 1.
Okay, welcome back to Innate State. Today we've got an interesting guest. Her name is Caz, and we're going to have a good little chat with her in a little while. Russell, nice to see you again.
Thank you.
And so we're going to start off with our little 5 to 10 minute meditation just to center ourselves.
Perfect.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So just take a few deep breaths. And as you breathe out, just let your body relax a little bit more on each breath. Allow yourself to go deeper and deeper. When you're ready, you can slowly bring yourself out. Caz,
Cheers.
welcome.
Thank you. That was lovely. Didn't really want to come out of that.
How did it, so, I mean, I think I say this every flipping time. It's just, I just find it kind of helps you to come from a different place. You know, like maybe even for yourself, you've been busy during the day, etc., driving and maybe expectations or whatever, and you come from a kind of a clean slate.
Yeah, definitely. I
You can feel that. Hey?
Yeah, I feel that.
Thanks for coming, and it's nice to have you here, Caz.
Yeah, it's really great to
And
be here.
tell me, do you practice meditation? Is that something that you do?
Yeah, I love it.
Just has it been a while?
Yeah, I've been, I'm fortunate I never had to meet it until I really needed it. And that was 2 years ago. I got introduced to Vipassana. I had many people talk about it to me, but I'm grateful that I hadn't tried any other.
Up till that point?
Yeah,
Okay.
because I'd done other forms of meditation, like yoga.
But this
I
is something
taught yoga,
that's kind of worked for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
What is it? Is it based? Is it is it kind of Hindu spirituality? What is it?
No, there's no religion connected to it. It's
It's Vipassana.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah. So it's by an ascended master who taught it to his followers. But it's all about observation, and everything is as it needs to be. Nothing needs to be any other way.
Yeah.
And your metaphysics is it's a communication of where you are and what you've created for yourself. So if you don't like it, just observe yourself until you can, shift it just by natural observation.
Who was the master there?
It's Buddha.
I was a part of Buddha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I find it interesting. Yeah. I've practiced meditation for many years.
Yeah.
And now, like at one stage, it was still like a mental exercise.
Yes.
Now I just sit.
Yeah, exactly. It's not
And
meant to
it's a
be.
different
Yeah,
place.
that's wonderful.
You know, but it takes time to get to a place like that where you
Yeah.
can just sit and just,
Yeah.
you just be. You're not trying to do anything while you meditate. You're not trying to like visualize this and that and whatever.
Yeah, like what should I be doing?
Yeah. But there's a time where that happens.
Yeah, especially in the beginning.
No,
It's like,
it's not that simple.
is
You're
someone
like,
else doing
what
it?
I should be doing? Yeah, no.
What should I be doing?
Or like,
Oh, nothing.
or any noise is distracting you, and
Yeah,
your
exactly.
the mind flies
That
off on
monkey
a
mind.
tangent. Hey?
That monkey
Not so
mind.
simple. Hey?
No.
Yeah.
No.
So tell me, what kind of stuff are you involved in? Like, I know you spoke of frequency healing. What is that? A lot of our viewers, they don't know what that is.
Okay, well, frequency is all about the way we meet the world. So we could meet the world in a place of guilt or shame or hate or anger or love or courage or neutrality. And these ways that we meet the world creates an attraction. It's a magnet. So we create a space where somebody who's feeling the same frequency as we are, we'll meet them, and we'll constantly meet them. They'll just be a different version of that person. It just won't be that person, but we may say in relationships, always tend to meet this type of person. Well, yes, because your frequency is calling that person.
You're vibrating at that level.
Yeah, so if you don't like
Yeah.
it, maybe don't get involved with people for a while, and maybe work on yourself until you can actually meet someone at a higher frequency. So it's about behavior.
So you go through, I suppose there's all those patterns, like if someone's stuck in certain, a bad pattern, a negative pattern, should I call it, you help them to see that.
Yeah. So
because they don't always see it. They're kind of lost in it. They think it's just part of who they are.
Yeah, they do. It's interesting because we started with meditation, and I think that's the most profound way to observe yourself is to see where you're at, And when I give a person an opportunity, because they need firstly to ask for help. You can't help someone until they want to help themselves.
No, for sure. You can't force it.
And you're not going to do the work for them. So it's a lot of work. And if we talk about consciousness waking up, there's a whole movement of people waking up to the fact that they actually have an opportunity to become more than they are. And this allows them to start taking responsibility for where they've been. And this can be, the dynamics of this human body is it's got memory. And we've been born from a family lineage that also has memory.
Yeah, and that's still playing out in you.
Yeah. So not only do you have your own story, but you've asked to be born into that family lineage so that you can meet yourself where you left off the last time. Because where you were in your past life is where you come in this life. So you're going to have to carry on where you left off. And there's a whole bunch of assignments that you put towards yourself while you were waiting to be incarnated again.
And also you've got kind of soul groups.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like I know I've had past lives with my immediate family.
Yeah, 100%. That's most
I know
of the
that,
time.
like I've, regression and whatever.
Yeah, and it's 100%.
And I think that's a lot of the time. And and it's like we kind of think it's like almost by accident, but it's not by accident. It's perfectly
designed.
Aligned.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Yeah, and it's beautiful. So you can really thank them because they've made the time to do that.
They've made the time
to be that punishment in your life.
To make things tough.
Yeah, they signed up for that assignment to help you.
That's good to see that.
No.
Yeah, it's not great, but
when
it's
someone's
the
suffering,
truth.
they don't want to hear that. They're like, shut up.
They don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear that. That's why you have to be ready for it. And it's a personal journey that I've gone on that's allowed me the opportunity to teach. So as you learn, so do you teach, right?
Because you've been through that process.
Yeah, so it's a sincere journey. And if I don't like something, then I can just work on myself and find a way to become better so that I can always teach from that place of integrity.
So I want to ask you a question. So when you're going through that process with someone, it's not a one-off. It's something that goes over a period of time. It could take months. It could take a year or 2 years. I don't know. It depends on the person, I'm guessing.
Yeah, you're right.
It's a process. It's not like there's a quick fix.
No.
Just start doing that.
No, it's a relationship that you build with them.
Yeah, and you constantly assisting them, you got to kind of remind them all the time. You're teaching them, because I find even with myself, when I was going through processes with teachers, etc., you learn something, but you fall back so quickly into your old patterns. Like almost immediately. It needs practice. It needs constant attention.
It's new neural pathways that you're creating.
You're learning new ways of doing things.
So in the beginning, it feels really uncomfortable because in a way you're doing something that you have not allowed yourself to ever do before. And now all of a sudden you're doing something that's a bit out of character, but it feels so much better because the outcome is so much better. Then it becomes like the logical brain or the emotional, intellectual, all of it comes into play, goes, I like what's happening. Things are changing. Yeah. And, if you think of us on a biological level, every 365 days, we go through a whole new body. So,
that's scientific, eh?
Yeah, so 365 days, every cell in your body is recreated. So
that's pretty incredible.
If you think about it, you're a new person every time, but we tend to get stuck in blaming people that they're the same as they were. No, they're
actually a new person.
Different, but you're just meeting them where you know them. So if we start realizing that we're always changing and nothing is a constant, we know that already. We know that from meditating. You meditate with yourself and you see that the way you felt yesterday is not the way you feel today. You feel like a different person.
It's never the same, but I even find my meditation is never the same.
Yeah.
Ever.
And that's because you're always
changing. It's never the same. Yeah. Even though you're just sitting in silence, it's not the same.
Isn't it bizarre?
It's kind of crazy. You don't know what's going to happen. It's like you might feel like a little energy tingle in your hair, and you're like, it just wasn't there yesterday.
Yeah, or why does my throat feel like this? It
Or
wasn't like that yesterday.
it's just different. Yeah, it's never the same.
Yeah, and that's a reminder.
But I think that's quite incredible.
Yeah, so that just reminds you to stay humble in all situations, because everyone chooses to be where they are in your life, and if they don't choose it, then they should change it. If you're not changing it, you're choosing it. So,
That's true.
We need to take responsibility.
You're not being a victim.
Yeah,
take responsibility. Change
what you don't like
within yourself.
Yeah, if you don't like something about it.
And I'm sure a lot of the stuff, and I'm talking from our personal experiences, there's a lot of like pain that's stored in our bodies, emotional pain, and that stuff needs to be released, cried out emotions.
Absolutely.
That's part of the healing.
Yeah, it has to come
going
up.
Into that anger or sadness or whatever the case is, and processing that stuff. And it takes a long time.
Yeah, it does.
Just because you had one little ball over something that came up, it's going to come back again. And it needs to do that for us over a period of time before, well, from my experience, for there to be real shifts in your kind of energy system.
Yeah, else you're just suppressing.
Otherwise you're suppressing.
Yeah.
So to raise your frequency, and you're talking about frequency, is to shed a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, because you if you get the concept of rebirthing every 365 days, you are letting go of what was all the time. So what comes to the surface is your triggers, if they're coming to your surface, and that's your treasures. That's where you can start.
Yeah, that's where the magic is. That's where the opportunity is to shift.
Yeah, and most people are suppressing that. Yeah. They're like, oh no, I've got to be a good person.
Or
you are a good person.
Or they're suppressing it with alcohol or substance abuse or whatever the case may be.
Behind all of that, we are actually all amazing. It's just that we have been controlled and put into boxes of how we need to act and how we need to be. So we can't just be our crazy selves.
Just to be yourself.
Just be.
I know. Yeah. And it takes a lot of awareness to even discover that authentic self. Because it's so buried. It's so buried.
Yeah, and just like whatever is coming up, because if you meet it where it's at, then it will shift naturally. It's not going to stay stuck. We don't actually stay stuck unless we make a decision, I'm not going to change, or I am. Whatever you put behind the words I am is your reality. Yeah. I am evolving. I am working on my ascension.
But I'm just thinking about, so your body is a new body basically every year. But those emotions and pain, etc., it's lodged in your energy system. So you got a new body, but that stuff from your, say, trauma you had as a kid is still stuck in you.
Yeah, so it could actually be getting worse.
That doesn't change. It could get worse.
Yeah, so in the idea of every new year, new body, you got the opportunity for destructive, not the best outcome. Yeah, and that's where the metaphysics comes in, because every emotion gets stored in your sicknesses in your body. Sickness is a disease. It's just a dis-ease. It's just something that's sitting there from a dis-eased moment, like some moment where you suppressed an emotion and it's now sitting in your kidneys, or it's now sitting in your liver, or it's sitting in your heart. So before we diagnose go to the doctor and diagnose it, why don't we look at our emotions and what caused, if it's someone's heart, what caused your heart to be in the state it's in? What has broken your heart?
Or heart attack, or whatever the case may be.
What has broken your heart to the point that it's actually broken? So how can I be there to help you to see that you are just loved?
So will you start with that? That's something that you would do. So if someone came to you and perhaps he has had a heart attack.
Yeah.
You're going to start with those emotions.
Yeah, I'm going to start with the emotions, but I'm going to work with it in the physical, because, we can get into psychology or get into, the spiritual side of things, but everyone's different in regards to that. Everyone's got different opinions, but the place to meet everyone is the physical body.
So how do you do that?
So it would be looking at their diet, for instance, their habits on a daily basis. What are they doing every day? Because we're habitual creatures, so we're addicted to this way of living. And this way of living could be hitting a nail in the wall that's actually creating a terrible outcome. So how can we start redesigning the home that person lives in?
Okay, I like
by
the analogy.
structure,
Yeah,
the structure of,
yeah.
let's look at what you have for breakfast, let's look at what's the first thing you do in the morning. Let's, like for me, nature has been a critical turning point in my life. So when everything started falling apart in my life, and it's, these things happen, it's part of life.
No, 100%.
I found that the biggest place of healing was nature. So
Sitting
fresh
in
water,
nature, food.
walking barefoot,
Yeah.
eating as basic as possible.
Barefoot.
Yeah, my nails are painted, but there was a point in my life where I must say I was getting a lot of pedicures as a gift.
That's okay.
Yeah, I think I had last year 5 pedicures for Christmas or something.
They were like, she walks barefoot too much. You can sort those feet out.
This is like a hard, like a very hard foot. It's smooth. It's very smooth. It's not a soft little cushy foot.
I like that.
Yeah, if I can take my shoes off and get barefoot into the mountains.
No, it's healthy.
Yeah, just experience nature with nature. Myself in my most natural, most raw, most organic self in that space. Because when you're in that space, because I do retreats in the mountains. So when I take people in that space, I can immediately feel within my body, personally, just for myself now, not talking about the collective, where I'm misaligned by my diet in that environment. Yeah. When I'm in this environment, society, in the cities,
it's different.
It's more difficult because you're already in a consciousness that's quite sick, meaning we're not self-correcting. We just, like machines, just living in choices that are not serving us. We're not creating a space of harmony within our body.
Yeah.
When you go into nature, it's already in a natural harmony.
That's true.
So now you're putting your disharmony in that space, so you can now observe yourself in a very gentle
so how would you change
way.
in other words, you'd eat more naturally, more natural diet?
So there's no other drinks besides, fresh water from the rivers type thing.
No cool drinks, no cokes and whatever the case may be.
No animal product, because we don't want to be do unto others as you want done unto you. So the concept of the retreats is to teach people do no harm. Take responsibility for your environment. So if we're going into nature and there's, people that have come before us that have polluted, don't moan about them. Who cares about them? Who are them? You are here now, so clean it up. Make sure you got to pack it in your bag, clean it up.
Yeah.
So that as you move through places, your consciousness is realizing, make things more beautiful as then you found it.
Okay.
So that you become responsible for your behavior patterns, you become responsible for who you are, and you're not blaming everyone else.
So can I just touch on your retreats? What are they called? What are they
So there's all different ones. So I get a lot of my guidance from my guides.
Yeah.
And they'll give me dates, they'll give me the theme, and they'll tell me what consciousness that I'm in around and that's coming in my space is looking to learn and looking to shift. So sometimes, like I've done different types of retreats. The one that I did last there were 16 people. It's always in the same space because I really am in love with that space. It's in Mpumalanga.
Okay.
That's where I do my retreats.
I like Mpumalanga.
Yeah, it's
very
beautiful.
Lush and green.
Yeah.
Beautiful, yeah.
Yeah, and there's a lot of history there. You've got Inzalu Ilanga, which is Adam's calendar.
I think we spoke about that the other day.
Yeah.
I've been there with the stones.
The monoliths. Yeah. It's profound.
Yeah.
And I take people there for their DNA activations and for their initiations.
Okay.
So they get a chance to reconnect to their ancestral lineage through the waters. They get to cleanse themselves, prepare themselves for their sacred journeys up to the mountains. So it's a pilgrimage. It's a pilgrimage of everyone is together, but we take responsibility for our own triggers. So if we're getting triggered by other people in the circle,
it's your own problem.
It's good. It's good.
Basically,
it's good.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to get scared about it. I'm not going to be like, I'm going to say I'm sorry to them because, it's not nice to see someone in an uncomfortable position.
But it is their issue.
But I'm going to ask them, why is this triggering you?
Yeah.
Like, what's actually going on here beyond this situation? I can understand why this person would trigger you. I respect that. But what is it actually? Let's go to that. So when we get to that, that's when they can go home and shift things, because it's something that's actually going on in their
there's
own
something
space.
internal.
There's something much deeper.
And they're
there.
on a kind of a spiritual quest in a sense. So there's a gift coming from whoever's irritating him. He's like, that guy's a dickhead, and I'm not feeling good, and I'm angry. I want to beat him. But it's just triggering anger inside, or whatever the case may be. And then you got an opportunity to shift it.
Yeah. And obviously, if there's certain things that people don't need to talk about, because we as a society, we are very clever at distracting ourselves from our work. So if there's circumstances going on in the retreat, I see as an opportunity to say, you guys are distracting yourself from the real work here. Let's not talk about the politics, the government, the religion. We're not here to convince, and we're not here to say who's right and who's wrong. Forget about that. That is irrelevant. What is relevant is your journey, unless you want to go home and wish you had more time here. So don't. Time is fleeting.
It's not like you're on a little hiking retreat or something. It's not like
work.
that.
Some people will be like, Caz, I brought wine.
Oh, really?
And I thought it was
Let's
going to
party.
relax. And I'm like, no.
Sorry about that.
No. This is not a retreat to relax. This is a retreat to go inward.
And how long are they? They're like 3 days, weekends? Or?
It's 4 days. And it normally starts on a Friday, and then it ends on a Monday. And then I also have training retreats, because... and that's normally in another area. That's Magaliesberg. So I do cleansing in the water, initiation with the elementals, fire, air, earth, and water. And that's where I teach people how to become their own leaders, and how to make something lucrative of something that... Because a lot of people believe that spiritual journeys...
You can't make a living out of it.
No, it's rubbish.
No,
it's actually
100%.
rubbish. They just... ignorance has led that, so part of being a spiritually conscious frequency of abundance is actually what we need to teach. We need to teach people how to take themselves out of society of a 9 to 5, and how you can actually flourish in your life.
Because they're so programmed in that... that dynamic of survival. Whereas there's something deeper than that, hey?
And what it looks like, because obviously we have banks and all of those systems, but it's a different reality. So I don't know if you've heard of that thing where they're saying consciousness is splitting at the moment. Where
I've heard that there's going to be like 2 realities. Is that a thing? I don't.
Yes.
I mean, I've heard of it. I don't know. I just live day to day,
It's a thing.
Okay.
What is it?
So you've got people who are going to be, really just focusing more on, medical study work, like the conventional, what we know, what we've come from, schooling system. Then there's going to be this other group that are slowly but surely removing themselves from that reality. So schooling looks different, birthing looks different, community looks different, income looks different, work looks different, because it's about taking responsibility for our behavior so we can bring Mother Gaia back into her full flourishment, because she's ascending. This planet is ascending. So we have to change very rapidly and quickly right now. And the ones that are stuck in that consciousness are actually getting stuck into a timeline that's not serving them long term. Whereas the ones that are moving on to the other timeline, it's meaning that we're all working on a different consciousness. We're working for our ascension. And I don't know if you've ever heard of Planet X, Nibiru.
I haven't.
Okay, so Anunnaki.
Yes.
It's a planet,
I've heard of that.
Yeah, so it's a planet that circles into our solar system every 3,600 years.
Yeah.
And if you look at our history, that's as far back as we can actually go. Yes, there's proof physically on the planet that there's been life much longer. 450,000 years is what we can get to right now. But why are we only sitting at 3,600 years of history?
Yeah, interesting.
Because every 3,600 years, the planet goes into a pool. and that cleans up the planet. And it's because of this planet orbiting into our solar system called Nibiru.
What do you mean by clean up the planet?
So it's the poles actually shift.
Yeah, there's a polar
and
shift. Yeah.
when that happens, normally everything gets wiped out, and that's like the flood.
Yeah,
and in the
kind
Bible,
of
they
like
talk
Ice Age
about
or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah,
like
so
everything
wipes
gets
out.
cancelled.
Yeah. So it's.
But we hope that doesn't happen this time.
Well, this is the thing that's going on right now. As our consciousness rises, we become a lighter frequency of body. That's why our biggest teacher is nature. Our biggest healer is Mother Gaia with all the elements, fire, air, earth, and water. The more we become part of her story, the less weight we carry on this planet. And that in itself will create the space for us to observe this whole thing to happen.
That's very interesting.
So, it's very interesting.
I mean,
it's dynamic.
Is there an actual planet?
Yeah.
Is there?
Yeah.
A physical thing?
Yeah, it is. It is. These beings are on our planet already. They're with us. They've been with us for the last 3,600
so there are
years.
beings on this planet?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Physical beings?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, they're involved with, I mean, do you want to get into that now? But that's a whole new...
That's a rabbit hole, right?
Yeah. But basically, if you go to Adam's calendar in Zalu Ilanga, that is where Noah's Ark basically came in with the floods to start the new world. And that's why the monoliths there are the oldest calendar as we know it. So
really? Like on the planet?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize it was
this is history.
as crazy as
and
that.
It's just been put under the carpet. There's pyramids there. It's older than Egypt.
Seriously?
Yeah, we've got beautiful gifts on. And why do you...
Africa, bud?
Yeah, it's all the minerals, all the gold. They came here for the gold.
Yeah.
They needed the gold to clear up their own ozone. Because we are just following their path, really. We're just following what they did.
That's why we find value in gold.
Yeah, where there is no value in gold, ironically.
On another note, I want to ask you something, on a personal note.
Sure.
When did you get involved in spiritual concepts, or not concepts, get the interest? When did it start? Because I like to ask people that,
it's a great question.
often it's like something traumatic happened or something, whatever the case is, it's different for everyone.
Yeah.
When, like, what kind of thing or age?
Yeah, that's a great question. I was 7 when I had a past life dream.
Sure, that's an early age for you to remember that.
And I couldn't tell anybody about it because it was just too horrific to explain that I'd had this weird dream to my family.
And it seemed too real, like it felt real.
It traumatized me, but it also intrigued me because it was so out there. And I sat with this for all my life, and then I always followed. I'm actually a very spiritual person. I'm very connected to Christ consciousness, to the path of enlightenment. I've always been intrigued with personal development and improving myself. So.
But was that so? But I mean, so at 7 you had that, and then obviously you were a kid, so things carried on, etc. And then. When did you kind of get back on the horse or whatever? You always had a bit of interest anyway in it.
Yeah. So 21 I got back into it, and everyone kept telling me I'm crazy. And
really, Yeah.
Yeah, and then I thought, okay, well, let me just create space for the masculine in my life. Because we have the three within us. We've got the masculine, the feminine, and the inner child within us. And I never really wanted to have a conventional path. I never had this dream as a young girl, I'm going to get married, I'm going to have children, I'm going to be a good wife. It wasn't
really part of your idea, your reality.
So I knew that I had to create a world that would protect me and look after me and allow me to be the free spirit that I am. So I focused on business acumen and creating an organization to earn income, passive income, these type of things.
Yeah.
And once it had got to a certain level, thankfully COVID hit, so I could then take the money I had grown and invested it into becoming the healer I've always been through all my past lives. But now I could just get
kind
sort
of
of those
focus
credit
on
notes,
that.
you know,
Focus
like,
on it, yeah.
here's the note.
Okay.
So
No,
yeah,
that's cool.
yeah, it's been an interesting journey,
Yeah.
and
Thankful for COVID.
yeah,
Yeah,
thankfully for
yeah.
COVID, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
it
really
had
grateful for
some
that.
positives.
Yeah, no, it definitely did. I don't think it was, I mean, I was a frontliner in COVID. I do ozone therapy. So I had many people coming to me during that time. And obviously, not obviously, but obviously, when I say obviously, I mean me. Being who I am, it was take your masks off. There is no sanitizer in the space. Let's get you in the pod and let's get you better. So it was more not fearing and not creating a fear within them, like they're not contaminating anything. I never got COVID, and I had really sick people coming through my doors, but
So the ozone,
that was fine. Yeah.
But it healed their breathing.
Their breathing, yeah. And
because
it was a
those
much
breathing
better
problems.
way because it's oxygen.
Yeah.
Not that way, but in through the cellular structure.
Okay.
Cellular, absorption.
Yeah. And the amazing thing is you didn't get COVID. It just shows you.
Actually, everyone that was fearful got it. So found that quite interesting. You know, don't come to me, Caz.
Yeah.
Okay, I won't come.
Okay. All right.
Fine. You do you, I do me.
And so tell me, I know you're doing the ozone therapy, you're doing retreats, etc. What the frequency stuff. And I remember when we met you, there was a poster of sorts that had a big list of interesting odds and ends, and I can't remember.
Yeah.
But maybe you can just tell us a little bit.
Okay, so I suppose I don't like to necessarily label myself. I don't think labels are healthy because it limits who you are.
Oh, so I don't believe in that either.
Yeah, it's
you lose your essence through the label.
Yeah, but in the world, people want it
No,
because
they like
it makes
it.
them
Like
feel
it.
safe,
Yeah,
and then they can sort of find a way in that space, you know. So that's why there's such a long list, because I could just put like one word there, but then what about all the other things?
But they want to see all the bits and bobs.
Yeah, because where you want to meet me is going to be very different from where you're going to want to meet me. So
That's true.
I'm not going to tell you how to meet me. I'm going to ask you, how do you want to meet me? Where do you want to find me at?
And then you adapt to that person.
Yeah, because there's many skills in this box of tools that I have.
Yeah.
And from plant medicine to energy healing to holding space to ceremonial space to clearing space to ozone to nutrition to what else? Retreats.
But it's all related.
It's all the
holistic
same thing.
At the end of the day.
It's all the same
thing. It's all part
thing.
of the same thing.
Yeah. Intimacy coaching, just giving people tips on how to be maybe more intimate with somebody because they don't know how to.
Yeah.
I find relationships fascinating. Just because I haven't been married or had kids doesn't mean I'm inadequate in that space. I'm fascinated by it, and I believe that it's beautiful to be able to connect with someone on a very intimate level. But a lot of people are scared to, and maybe that's also why they tend to also take these, conventional structures, because they think, well, we'll have time in that structure to get to be intimate, but they still miss the intimacy.
Yeah.
Because now it's a control, ownership instead of
for sure, and often our greatest lessons are in those
intimate
relationships.
Yeah.
Once the honeymoon phase is done, the nitty gritty comes out.
Yeah, and that's actually
and
where
you
it's
learn
beautiful.
from that. That's where you learn the biggest
That's actually
lessons.
where the real thing is.
And when there's you see so many people getting divorced, etc. They're running away from it.
They're just giving up.
And how often, and I'm sure you've experienced that with people, that they leave a certain type of person and then they get involved with the next person. It's the same.
Exactly.
It's like they look similar often.
Exactly.
And they end up with the same kind of thing going on.
Yeah,
and
even some of them have the same name.
they can't get they haven't learned those lessons. And now the next it's crazy.
Yeah, and it's they're cheating themselves and they're lying to themselves. So maybe you want a different outer look of somebody to get to stay interested in the process, but it's a bit superficial. Just enjoy what you have and work with it. If
but
you
it's not
are
always- but
not,
it's
if
not
you're chalk and
easy.
cheese, then
Yeah.
it's a
I mean,
misalignment. Then it's a mismatch.
that can also happen.
Yeah,
That can
absolutely.
happen.
And some people do it because they don't say no when they should be. They don't say no and they say yes when
Yeah,
they
we're
should
not
be
saying
saying
that everyone
no.
should stay together.
No, no.
Let's be honest.
That's
it's
not what we're
not how it
saying.
works.
100%.
But in I think the majority of cases, people, they just don't work through this stuff.
Yeah,
They're not
yeah.
working through
I
their
agree.
issues.
Yeah.
Like from my personal experience, I got married when I felt it was the right time. Like everything just aligned. I'd been on my spiritual path for a couple of years, and then I meditation. I just knew it was right.
Yeah.
I'd never considered it before.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
So
yeah.
then you just know. Then
think that's
I'm not
the
saying
way.
it's been a walk in the park
No, I
because
don't
it's
expect it
flipping.
to be.
There have been moments. There've been
But
moments.
that's what
let me
makes it
tell
even
you.
more beautiful.
But
retrospect.
I just remember at the time it was just it just felt like it was
Yeah.
things had flown together.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
You know when your friends are like, no, you're crazy, waiting. And you just ignore them because you just
Yes.
know this is the right thing.
Yeah. I'm a romantic, so I believe in that. I really do.
Heard the story too many times.
No, he has.
Yeah, it's
Russell's
fine.
heard it because it's just something that's close to my heart, you know.
But listen, it's beautiful, and
Thank you,
it's
buddy.
amazing how many people. I mean, not many people have that blessing. You know, like
Yeah.
funny story. When I was 12, my mom was married to my dad, and bless his heart, he's an amazing man, and I'm very grateful to be his daughter. But however, their relationship was just absolutely terrible.
Oh, was it?
And I really couldn't bear it. It was a painful relationship. And I kept wishing for my mom to have the most amazing person in her life because she's amazing. And so is my dad. And they just
But they didn't gel.
No, there was too much to control, too much conservative false beliefs of the past of like, you get married and that's how you become, you know. And I met this man and I was like, wow, you got to meet my mom.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I was 12 years old.
You were like the...
And I introduced my mom.
the
She was
setup.
married. She was married and she was like, Caz, what the hell are you doing? And I'm like, Mom, this is your husband. And she's like, but what
you're
about,
only 12 and what do you know?
about your dad? I'm like, Mom, no. This is your husband. And she was really uncomfortable and really shocked about it. And now I'm old, I'm 47, so I feel for my father because I know it broke his heart, but he also needed to learn something from that.
So what happened?
And it wasn't
did she get involved with him?
Yeah, eventually. And they married. They've been married for 27 years and they're happily married. They are the most incredible couple.
Show me your poor dad.
But that's life. That's the thing that I think we all forget is that you have this moment. Like now, we have this moment.
Yeah.
If we don't make it what it is, we're going to regret what we could have done and what we should have done. And then when we look back, then we go, if I'd only. No, you have the moment to do the right thing, so do the right thing.
But now, has your dad forgiven you?
Well, yeah, I think it's taken him
After
time.
many years?
It's taken him time. I mean, I'm 47. That was when I was 12.
That was a while ago.
Yeah, it's been a journey, and I've always been a really honest and transparent person. It's not like you're going to get frills. You're going to get what you see is what you get.
Yeah.
And I think my father, he misunderstood me a lot of my life, and I think it was difficult for him because I'm so out of the box and I'm so honest about being out of the box. If you ask me about the drugs I took when I was a kid or negative behavior patterns I had, I'll talk about all of that because it's made me who I am.
And
it's
you're not
helped
embarrassed
me,
by it.
No, and it's
because
helped me to
it's how it
relate
is.
to other people that are in that situation or that, you can't be this like person on a pedestal and you can't put yourself there either. How do you meet people if you haven't been there yourself?
For sure.
So for me, it's, my dad has had to just embrace me for what I am, you know.
But he's met someone else.
Yeah. He's married, and she looks. She takes care
This is
of
a
him
crazy
and-
story. This is going to go down in history books. Yeah.
Yeah.
The 12-year-old that introduces another man to a mother. I mean, that sounds crazy.
It does, eh?
It does sound crazy.
Yeah. So my mom's always like, "Oh, but I should do that for you now, Caz. You know, you're about the age where I was." I'm like, Mom, no, because every time she tries to set me up with someone, I'm like, no, this is not going to work. This is awkward.
Because you know what I also
I've
I
tried.
wanted to talk about is like I don't know what your kind of idea of what love is in a relationship. What would that be for you?
So I think it's about two people being individual, but also being able to hold space for each other's magic. So like as a woman, we have got the womb of creation within us. We can create like Mother Nature.
Yeah.
And the masculine, you know, if we were taught about this, I think it would have helped a lot. The masculine is about holding that frequency for the woman, because you and the divine feminine you meet should have a very similar life path. If your life path is not the same, then you shouldn't be together, because we only have like, let's say 70 years here. We've got very limited time in retrospect, if you look at life and where you are now in your age. So if you're dabbling with people that are sort of time wasters, not knowing where they're going, and
that's true.
They're stopping what you're here to do. They're a distraction.
Like kind of your purpose in a sense.
So as far as I understand, I am married to Spirit. I'm married to God. That was my first marriage in my story, because I didn't have, like most girls' wishes, to meet the perfect man, to get married, have kids. But when I look at the big picture, the masculine as in Christ consciousness, God, that masculine holds me all the time and keeps me blooming and keeps me wanting to create.
It kind of nurtures you. Nourishes you.
Yes, nurtures like the seed of life. It's seeding that space within me to create. And I believe when a masculine is not fearful of this very strong dynamic woman, and he can hold that space for her to manifest and create, his abundance is guaranteed, because it's held between that dance. And when that dance is in place, the inner child, which is your ascended self, can come up to play. So you've got the threefold flame in your heart, which is the masculine, the feminine, and the inner child. If those two spaces, the masculine and the feminine, is in a good space, your inner child will start being able to heal and start being able to play and start being able to be the magic that that child is.
That it truly is.
Yeah,
because also what I've found is within a relationship is to be able to accept someone for who they are.
Absolutely.
Because I always, like even myself, when you first got married and you're still trying to change that person to some extent. But you know, through awareness, etc., you get to a place where you realize you need to just accept that person.
Yeah, you can't
change them.
And it's actually unhealthy.
And I think that's where what love truly is. It's not some romantic thing all day long. It's about accepting that person for who they are and what they're about.
Yeah, with all their tricks and tricks.
All their good things and not so good things, and whatever the case may be. Because you're not going to change them. They are who they are. And should you be trying to change them at the end of the day? No.
No, it's tiring. And then you're again distracted, because it becomes about them instead of you.
Yeah.
And that's an addictive sort of behavior pattern, isn't it, as well? Because your obsession becomes about them being better instead of about you doing what you're supposed to do.
You're focusing on their flaws instead of just being content where you're at.
Yeah, and that is
and
what
if they're
you
doing
want.
that, then they're doing that. So be it.
Yeah. It's not easy.
No.
And
We're not talking about easy things.
This is like grown-up stuff.
Yeah, this is for big people.
This is grown-up stuff, you know, because some people
It takes a long time, Russell. You're still young, eh? But it does take a long... You got a way to go, dude.
Yeah,
but,
me too.
But it's actually... It's something of... of another level of maturity, humor, in a sense.
Humor is a great way to work through that space.
Yeah.
You know, if it irritates you, just laugh, because there's not much else you can do.
Listen, it took me a long time to grow up. When I was 40, I still felt like I was like a teenager.
Exactly.
Honestly,
I
I'm not
think
even
I only
joking.
started. Yeah, no, I'm hearing you.
Yeah, I
think 45 was my breaking point. I decided I can't be a teenager any longer.
It took me a long time to grow up and get big.
Yeah.
But you know what? I suppose you're allowed to have fun. We're allowed to have fun.
I think fun is a key
as long as
factor.
it's not at someone else's expense, which it can be sometimes, and that's not healthy.
It's not healthy. Yeah.
Hey?
Hey, I've still got lots to learn, and I'm open to the experience of it. I think my biggest blessing is curiosity.
Yeah.
I find things interesting, and
that is a blessing.
And I've learned to ask more questions, even though I might look stupid in the moment. I don't care anymore about that, because I learn far more when I just ask the uncomfortable question, or the question that I'm really wanting to ask, that would maybe make me look a bit silly.
And that takes strength as well.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
There's a certain amount of strength involved in being that honest.
And just because it's the strength to know that you're enough just the way you are, and you're good enough. You're amazing. Like, not in a vain way, but just like everybody's amazing. And why can't you be amazing?
And a lot of what we've also chatted about is just being authentic. You know, that doesn't mean being ugly to people and that, but coming from your true. You know, there's a true essence within us, and once you've peeled all those layers away, that's what comes through.
Yeah.
And just be authentic with everybody.
Yeah, and
doesn't matter who the person is. It takes time to get to that point.
Yeah,
but there's
especially
magic
when you want to be perfect
but
all the
there's
time.
magic there. Yeah, but then you realize you're not perfect.
No,
and no one is flipping perfect.
And trying to be somebody else is still being somebody. So why not just be yourself?
And also, being imperfect is also perfect.
Yeah,
because there's no real mistakes. You know?
But what is perfect? That's
it's
a whole
just a whole
other
mental game, isn't it?
Yeah.
Hey?
Yeah, I mean, I went through a really, really bad patch. For the last 2 years, I've just found, and it was a physical pain that was caused through an emotional story, and I had fallen in love. Okay, and that's the key word there. Fallen in love.
Yeah.
Not rose in love.
Yeah. There's a difference. Yeah, actually, there's a bit of a difference there.
And it created space for me to really hit rock bottom in so many aspects, because I've always been a teacher, and to go through that, and then to have so many people show up that were not the people I thought would show up, and to build this new dynamic acceptance of who I am in this mess, and to realize that I'm actually loved even when I'm in a load of a mess, and to then build myself up in that space, and so to have a place of forgiveness.
Yeah, but that was a big lesson for you, I'm sure.
Yeah, it was huge. I needed it.
A growth phase.
Yeah. And to love someone so much that life didn't even seem worth living. What a blessing to also have experienced love like that, because now I can say I've experienced that.
100%.
So it's a great experience.
It was perfect perfection in it.
He was the perfect story. Yeah, he needed to be there in my story.
It's incredible.
Yeah. And I'm
grateful. I must say, it's been so lucky having you here.
Yeah, it's been amazing to be with you guys.
It's been so nice, such a nice chat.
Yeah.
And if you've got any links or anything, we'll put it on the podcast, Caz.
I think the best way for people to get hold of me is to WhatsApp me, because I'm working on a website, but personally at this moment and for the while, I've been working with people just asking me questions. And then I have a WhatsApp group, and then I have an Instagram account.
But we can put we'll put that on the page. And then what did you call yourself in the beginning?
So I'm actually, my name is Caryn Amber Rich, but people know me as the Golden Warrior.
The Golden Warrior, yes.
Yeah.
I love that.
So,
I wanted to say, Caz, thank you so much for coming on, and you are a blessing.
Thank you.
Actually.
Too. Thank you.
Russell, cheers, my buddy.
Cheers,
and please like and subscribe.
Yeah, like and subscribe. This is an amazing channel. I've enjoyed myself. I can't wait to watch the rest.
Yeah.
Cheers, guys.
Thank you, Caz.
Yeah, thank you for welcoming me into your home. Your
You were
beautiful space.
amazing.